Hello everyone, welcome to the part 2 of our discussions about chemical reactions. In this video, we will talk about the types of chemical reactions. But let's review first what is chemical reaction. Based on our first video, chemical reaction is a process of change where molecules of one or more substances are broken down to form new substance or compound, which is called as product. For example, once the diatomic elements such as hydrogen and oxygen gas collide with activation energy and proper orientation of atoms, they will form water, which is now a liquid form. So how can we say that reaction is take place by a particular molecules or substances? We have 5 evidences which shows that chemical reaction is present, such as the evolution of light and heat, just like what we discussed on Big Bang evolution, where everything was started because of the extreme heat that later on produced cosmic radiation light. The second is the change in temperature. It is either increase or decrease of temperature in the surroundings. Third is the formation of a gas other than boiling, like what happened in active volcanoes crater. It can also seen through bubbles or by smell of odor. The fourth is change in color, like changing of fruit from being unripe to ripe. This is due to the formation of a new substance. And lastly, precipitate formation. This happens when a new solid is formed from the reaction of two aqueous solution. The chemical reactions, once represented in an equation, have three parts. The first is the reactant. The reactant is a substance that is destroyed or break by chemical change. The second is the product, which refers to substance created by the chemical change. And lastly is the arrow, which is read as yield. We have different types of chemical reactions. The first is the single replacement, or also called as the redox. The second is the double replacement, or also known as the metathesis. Third is the synthesis or the combination reaction. Fourth is decomposition. And lastly is the combustion. So let's talk first about single replacement. From the word single means one uncombined elements replaces another element in an ionic compound. This shows that reactants are composed of positively charged ions and negatively charged ions. Here, there are two reactants and two products. Let's say we have the reactants of elements AB, which is already a combined elements or compound, reacts with element C, which is the uncombined or single element. The element C, which is single element, replace element A. So the product will combine elements BC and element A. In our example, iron is the element A. Reacts with the compound of copper sulfate. In this compound, the copper is the element B, while the sulfate is the compound C. Since the copper is the single element, it will replace by the iron, so the product will be like AC plus B or iron sulfide plus copper. But remember, not all single replacement reactions actually occur. We will know that single replacement will occur if elements with higher activities replace elements with lower activities during a single replacement, but not vice versa. In this case, iron has higher activities than copper. That's why they replace each other. However, copper cannot replace the iron anymore in this substance. The second type of chemical reaction is the double replacement, or what we call metathesis. In this reaction, the parts of two aqueous ionic compounds switch places to form new compounds. For example, we have reactants of AB plus CD, which yields to CB plus AD. Means elements A and C switch places as we can see in the products. In metathesis, there are two reactants and two products present. We have here substances of silver nitride reacts with potassium chloride. In silver nitride, we have silver as element A and nitride as compound B. On our second reactant, we have potassium as element C and chlorine as element D. Once these reactants react chemically, the elements silver and potassium switch in position, resulting to a product which is potassium nitride and silver chloride. But also, like single replacement, we should remember that not all double reactions actually occur. It will only occur if a solid precipitate or gas or water is produced. If none of these things will produce, both products are aqueous solution, means the substance is dissolved in water. Then there is no reaction. The third type of chemical reaction is the synthesis or combination reaction. Here, two or more simple substances, which are the reactants, combine to form a more complex substance or product. For example, we have reactants of A and B. Once substance A and B reacts, they will form one product, which is the AB. So in synthesis, there are two reactants and one product that can be more complicated substance because it can be a combination of two elements, two compounds, or one element and one compound. For example, we have carbon as element A and oxygen as element B. Once element A and B, the carbon and oxygen react chemically, they will form carbon dioxide or elements AB. Synthesis or combination reaction occurs between metals and nonmetals to form ionic compound and between nonmetals to form covalent compounds. The fourth type of chemical reaction is the decomposition. This type of reaction is the opposite of synthesis. A more complex substance, which is the reactant, breaks down into two or more simple parts. Let's say, for example, we have the reactant AB. Once the reactant AB reacts chemically to each other, it will form two products, the products A and B. So in decomposition, there is only one reactant and the products are two simple substances. In decomposition, the products are always simpler than the reactant. Let's say, for example, we have a compound of calcium carbon oxide. Here, we have calcium as element A and carbon oxide as compound B. Once calcium and carbon oxide react chemically, it will form two products which represents A plus B or the calcium oxide and the carbon dioxide. So as we can see, products are more simpler than the reactant. When covalent compounds undergo decomposition reaction, gases often produced, such as hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. Lastly, the combustion reaction. This reaction involves all oxygen as reactant combining with other elements or substance. This reaction usually have a carbon element, carbon oxide, carbon dioxide, and water substance as a product. When hydrocarbon have a complete combustion, it will produce carbon dioxide and water, while the incomplete hydrocarbon combustion produces carbon oxide and possibly black carbon soot as well. All combustion reactions are exothermic, means it releases heat, causing the temperature of immediate surroundings to rise. So when combustion is complete, it will produce blue flame, while the yellow flame produces when the combustion is incomplete. Therefore, based from our discussions, chemical reaction is important to understand the properties of matter. By studying the way a sample interacts with other matter, we can learn its chemical properties. These properties can be used to identify an unknown specimen or to predict how different types of matter might react with each other.